Breaking news. Welcome to today's headlines. Ipob and the Clangers of Confusion by Kene Obiezu. Ipob and the Clangers of Confusion by Kene Obiezu. To my dear listeners from wherever you're listening from, stay tuned as I read today's news. For the Ipob, cattle is the new target, the new battleground, the new irritant. After suffocating the very people they are supposedly seeking to liberate from imaginary oppressors, the Ipob recently indicated it was turning its attention to cattle while its leader languishes in detention in Abuja. However, this surprises only little. An organization that apparently prides itself in misplacing its priorities is bound to always have eggs on its face. This is precisely the lot of the Ipob at the moment. The climate around its camp is certainly that of confusion as it molds the additional steps to force the release of its incarcerated leader, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu. And now, there is an ultimatum. The Ipob recently came out with a warning that stood out for its starkness, that by April 2022, the movement and consumption of Fulani cows in the southeast would be proscribed. In a latter statement, the group was at pains to clarify that its decision was not born out of hate, but to safeguard its land and people from the evil agenda of the Fulanis. In a statement on February 7, 2021, the group reiterated that the decision was born out of the natural desire to preserve their race from being wiped out by the Fulani terrorist herdsmen. While saying it would no longer tolerate the criminal silence and the failure of the federal government to protect its territories against attacks, the group said that it would support its people to boost farming and animal husbandry business, particularly by supporting the breeding of their local cows, Fāīlure, so as to preclude the wastage of 3 billion naira every year, which was what the Igbo spent on cow meat. It bears note to state that the giant of Africa does not belong to any one person or group and can never be so belong. The clear import of this is that no one person or single ethnic group can lay claim to any region of the country and proceed on the strength of such claims, no matter how outlandish or hopelessly spurious, to ask select persons or groups to leave any such region. In spite of the yawning cracks in the foundation of the country remains one single entity until validity dissolved. For now, the 1999 Constitution prescribes Nigeria as it is and how it should operate. Until it says otherwise, no contrary prescription can be entertained on or enforced from any one person or group. In the light of this, the Ipob seems determined to embark on another episode of it is now customary foolhardiness. It explains the epistle from Ipob. There can be no doubt that some Fulani herdsmen have by their wantonly murderous fully contributed to the terrifyingly negative perception many Nigerians have of them. There have been rapes, murder, arson, wholesale destruction of livelihoods, largely attributed to them as they moved their cattle from place to place. Allegations and lamentations have been rife that bloodthirsty mercenaries have infiltrated their ranks. But even if this was true, they must bear some responsibility for not identifying and fishing them out. Indeed, the question of whether or not Fulani herdsmen have become synonymous with menace, and especially the question of the place of their cattle in Nigeria today, is at the very center of fierce argument about Nigerians' frayed unity. Notwithstanding, the Ipob cannot do what it was proposed for April 2022. It has said rather blatantly that it would support Igbo farmers to breed their own cattle, but it did not say what the plan would be between when the ban would come into place and when Igbos can start raising their own cattle. The Ipob has in the past shown that it is not averse to the acrobatics of short-sightedness. This is yet more proof. It was precisely this self-inflicted short-sightedness that conduced to drawing it with highly unwanted tag of proscription as a terrorist organization. It was the same short-sightedness that landed its leader in the lair of the federal government. Even its response to the continued detention of its leader betrays some incredible short-sightedness, suffocating the Southeast with inane sit-at-home orders has only made whatever sympathy a historically single-minded people had for it to congeal into defiance from which there may be no doubt anytime soon. Nigerians' diversity has never really been the country's problem. Nigerians' diverse ethnicities have never really been the reason